It does feel like 2025 is the year of new media being released that no one really believed in, and then it performing insanely well, and no one is prepared to capitalize on that hype. That's it. That's my intro. Hey, I'm Amanda. I talk for a living and I'm professionally nosy. And you're watching Swell Entertainment, a channel where I can talk about whatever I want and introduce you to it at least every Tuesday. And today we are talking about Heated Rivalry, or as Twitter lovingly refers to it as, the gay hockey show. For this video, we're going to be talking about Heated Rivalry and the episodes that have come out so far. At the time we're recording this, episode 3 just came out. Now, this should come out before episode 4, but this will have spoilers for the first 3 episodes of Heated Rivalry. I'm not going to go through and break down every single episode and everything like that. That's not the point of this video. I'm talking mostly about the response to Heated Rivalry and how there should have been some form of prep for this. But just so you know, we're probably going to talk about some spoilers. So if you are worried about spoilers, that's your warning. If all you really want to know is how much of this is hockey and how much of this is like actual like gay relationship, it is mostly gay with like a sprinkle of hockey. A misting, a drizzle of hockey, okay, over the gay. There really is no other way for me to put it. Do not worry about being queer baited with the show or anything like that. 12 minutes into the first episode, I think it's exactly 12 minutes in, someone is on their knees. Exactly 12 minutes in. If that's all you wanted to know, there you go. So Heated Rivalry is a gay hockey show made by Crave Canada. Crave is a streaming platform in Canada, and originally when it was announced, it was only going to be released on Crave. And everyone, at least that I was on my timeline, which is reading girlies, sports girlies, I'm bi, but like LGBT girlies, you know, like a lot of us were like, sorry, what do you mean it's only going to be available in Canada? I tried to make a Crave account. It wasn't going to let me. I started looking at VPNs. I'm going to admit it. I was like, why can I not get the gay hockey show? Then it was announced about, I think, a week or so before the release that it was actually going to be released in the United States by HBO Max, which is now apparently going to be bought out by Netflix. Allegedly, hypothetically, it's just been like the bid is being made. Nothing's been approved yet. So show released in Canada, here in the United States. I've been watching it on HBO Max. We do have something to talk about with that in a second, which I will get to. Heated Rivalry is a book written by Rachel Reid. Now, Heated Rivalry is actually not the first book in the Game Changers series, which is the overall arching series. I'm so sorry. I just my brain just keeps jumping to sex jokes. I'm so sorry. I am an adult. I am a professional. I can get through this. I'm so sorry. I do think the fact that it's not the first book in the series is also relevant to the series itself. There's, at least as I'm looking at it, 6 books in the series. I think there also might be more. Now, I actually don't think I had ever heard of this series. Maybe I had seen it recommended in like a oh, here's what I read this month type of drop or things like that. But I've never actually read Game Changers or, you know, any of Heated Rivalry or anything like that. So Heated Rivalry is the story of 2 rival hockey players on competitive teams throughout, I think it's like a 7-year situationship, for lack of a better phrase. It starts out prior to their rookie season and continues on throughout their careers as actual rivals in hockey. Some people are referring to this as enemies to lovers. Not what this is. Unless there's like an actual threat of death, I don't think you can call something enemies to lovers. Rivals to lovers, that's exactly what this is. And it is like exploring the actual inherent homoeroticism of rivals that you have in various sports and things like that. Like, I like you. I want to beat you. I kind of also want to be you. I want to be in you. You know what am I explaining this right at all? Is this immaculate, fantastic television? It's fun. And that's really what I want from, you know, my gay love stories and things like that right now. I want a rom-com, you know, I want fun. I want heartbreak. I want emotional. I don't necessarily need to be emotionally terrorized. Like, overall, it's like a fun show, okay? And it is very fast-paced, especially for Shane and Ilya. The show follows Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov. When I made the joke in the intro about 12 minutes in, I think is the count for someone being on their knees, like, I'm not kidding. It's a very fast-paced first 2 episodes even. I've seen some people that have read the book, because I have not been able to read the book. We'll talk. Not only are people that have read the book say that, yes, the book is that fast-paced as well, but if anything, they've actually added more to their dynamic in these first 2 episodes than the book actually does. The show was only also 6 episodes. I am so sick of short season, but whatever gets something like this made, and maybe with this success, I think we'll get at least another season. Overall, though, I think that the fast-paced nature also fits the fact that we have 6 episodes, okay? Some people said, like, oh, even with 6 episodes, with how quick we're going, I don't know if we're gonna have enough for 6 episodes. Episode 3 is relating to the main story, but also focusing on a different relationship than Shane and Ilya, okay? And I do think that's relevant to mention here as well. Because remember how I said Heated Rivalry is not necessarily the first book in the series? The other book is Game Changer. Game Changer originally started as Stucky fanfiction. Stucky as in Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes, as in Marvel fanfiction. Reid is saying that this was not originally fanfiction, that it was originally an original work, and instead of filing the serial numbers off to publish it as Game Changer, she filed the serial numbers on because she thought she had to publish it on AO3. Okay, sure, why not? Whatever it takes for you to not get sued. I'm also lawsuit averse. At some point it was published as Stucky fanfiction, but I do want to talk about this because of what I'm about to talk about. I want to make the note, Reid is saying that it was not successful on AO3 and then it got picked up by publishing. Reid took it down off of AO3, redid it as Game Changer, and then submitted it for publishing. We talked a lot on this channel about movies and shows and traditionally published books that started as fan fiction. Now, there is a lot of back and forth on how good this is and how bad this is and things like that. Unfortunately, my opinion of fan fiction published as novels traditionally has taken a bit of a dip just because that seems to be the main thing that is being done right now in publishing. In publishing right now, we are seeing a rise of publishers acquiring books that are already successful. So that's where you see a lot of self-published novels getting acquired and then being re-released, and fan fiction that is popular on Wattpad, fanfiction.net, AO3, etc. These being successful and then being acquired, changing some details, rewriting them with editors, and then releasing them. Oftentimes, barely concealed that this is fan fiction. Now, it seems like a lot of publishers are really leaning into the fact that something is fan fiction, or they're not trying to hide that it's fan fiction. I don't know if that's because of the success that Ali Hazelwood found with publishing her fan fiction. That was Raylo fan fiction for The Love Hypothesis. I'm 28 now, but when I was like 19 or so, I had a friend that was like, oh, let me see if I can find this book while we were at a Barnes & Noble. And she was like, oh, my friend's fan fiction just got published. And it was like, I think 5 Seconds of Summer fan fiction that got published. I don't even remember what book it was. And I was like, really? Like, and that was then. Like, this is a thing that's been happening. You know, obviously, 50 Shades of Grey is a famous one. The After series was a famous one. Then we have this now new boom where it seems like only what is being released is fan fiction, okay? Specifically in the romance genre. And it's become a lot. Specifically, there's a lot of Hermione fan fiction being published right now. And I get it. It is somewhat successful on the fan fiction sites. But then to just change his hair color and then no one will know that it's, you know, Hermione fan fiction. But that seems to be a selling point. So they're not even doing that. Honestly, in a way, this new boom that we are seeing right now of fan fiction being traditionally published, it's almost like an adaptation before an adaptation. Stay with me, because a lot of times they want to do an adaptation because they're like, oh, this is successful as a book series, we can make it successful as a TV series. And we have this built-in audience because so much of the film industry, TV industry, all of that right now, it's like, we need guaranteed hits, we need success. Original stories? No, we need a proven IP, okay? And so that's why they pick like a successful book series and things like that, or a book that was super successful and broke records, because there's already an audience here. Let's expand it and expand that potential audience for people that like don't read, you know? Same thing kind of can go with traditional publishing, where they're almost hoping that they can expand the reader base already because it already was successful with fan fiction readers. And it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of people that don't read fan fiction, so they either won't know that it's fan fiction, or the fact that it was a successful fan fiction in and of itself is enough of a motivation for someone to pick it up If that makes sense. That really has nothing to do with the topic of this. I just wanted to make it note that this has origins in Stucky fan fiction, and I do think that's relevant. The character of Scott in the show, who is captain of Team USA for the Olympics in the show and things like that, he's played with Shane a couple of times, played against Shane and Ilya a couple of times in the show. He is the Steve Rogers character, and they do lean into it a few times where the styling for his character in episode 3, which is the skip episode, I think they're calling it, because it's Scott and Kip is the guy that he was seeing in the show. That's the relationship focused on in episode 3, which is also the focus of Game Changer 1. There's a lot of styling choices that are very similar to Steve Rogers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is interesting. Doing so well, and they clearly didn't expect it to do well. They expected this to just be like a tiny little show that they put out. Hey, we bought the rights to this book. Let's make it. It'll be fun. We can make kind of a hockey show. We can make a gay show. Yay. Then the Crave, because of the boom of people being like so excited, begging to figure out where they could watch it, the people were reserving this book for a while at their libraries, buying it from bookstores. So they did a premiere for Heated Rivalry, and it had like a really awkward kind of like setup, a small little step and repeat setup with like a blue carpet. It's cute, but it also does seem where they were like, wow, we did not expect this to go this well, you know? And they did a full like premiere, and a bunch of people were invited to do, I think the first 2 episodes they saw, everyone was like, oh my God, it's so good. People were crying. I think people were just like so excited that it was like really explicitly gay, because that was one thing that I saw a lot of people saying when they were like hesitant to watch it, is they thought that it was going to be super like closed door romance, hints of the relationship, slow burn, you have to wait for it. No, like it was going to be mostly hockey, you know? There's barely any hockey in it. I did see someone make the joke of they don't have the budget for hockey. I'm not even kidding. That may have been it. When you think about all of the potential costs and like of making a show, and then also the cost on top of that of like actually having your actors play hockey and be able to play hockey and be trained in hockey and ice time and filming on ice and all of that, like I think the insurance alone would have added more cost to the production of this. Premiere, I think, is a symptom of what we're also talking about here, which is the fact that no one was prepared for this show to perform well. And I honestly think it's something that's really similar to what we saw with K-pop Demon Hunters. You can disagree with me on that. That's totally cool. However, I think that it's the same thing of the people that are making the show really believe in it and really love it and really want it to do well. And the people that are releasing it, the things surrounding it, don't think it's going to do well. And then they're proven wrong, and then no one is ready to catch the bag of money that people are trying to throw at them so they can get more. For me in particular, with any book adaptation, especially for a show or anything like that, if there is any possibility of it doing well whatsoever, after the success of Bridgerton, bear with me, I don't know why you aren't prepared for at least a slight uptick in sales. Because it seems like no one was prepared for an uptick in sales of this book series. After Bridgerton season 1 aired, okay, Julia Quinn, who was the author of the Bridgerton book series, her books sold a bajillion copies, it felt like. I don't know what the exact number was, but that's the part of the reason the show did really well on streaming, but also the book series sold a fuckload of copies, okay? Within the airing of that, like people bought the whole book series. People bought everything, okay? And so they were like, cool, we're gonna greenlight 5 more seasons. This is not just like streaming numbers doing well. This is a tangible financial look to show how successful this series could be and what else we can do with it, okay? The moment you have like an actual physical thing being sold, you kind of can't ignore that, okay? K-pop Demon Hunters broke literal records. I think the most successful movie on Netflix still at this time, their most successful animated movie, obviously, breaking literal records, and no one was prepared for it, to the point that they were not prepared for merch, they weren't prepared for toys and things like that, they weren't prepared for Halloween costumes even, where Halloween costume designers were like, we don't want to make K-pop Demon Hunter costumes. We don't think this is going to be successful. Cut to, as I said, a couple months later for Halloween, where Spirit Halloween salespeople are like, we don't have K-pop Demon Hunters. I don't know what to tell you. There was a ton of knockoff cosplays online. People are making their own. Some very successful cosplayers have made their own cosplays because they had to. The boom of merchandise immediately. I went to Anime Expo. I think it was 2-3 weeks after the release of K-pop Demon Hunters. They had made sure to make merch immediately. They were watching and they were like, oh, I know what I must do. There was a decent amount of K-pop Demon Hunters stuff that was made by artists at Anime Expo because no one else was like leaning into it. When it came to Game Changers, okay, when it came to Heated Rivalries, I don't know why they weren't at least semi-prepared with the production of these books. You cannot get these books. Heated Rivalry itself, you can't get. Barnes & Noble, Heated Rivalry, okay? Paperback, try and order that. Nope, temporarily out of stock online. Even on Amazon, temporarily out of stock. Audiobook is available, obviously. Kindle, available, okay? But to physically buy like a physical copy of this book, you can't get. There are people that have like a Libby like reserve for this book, and they're like number 300 in line. How well did the series initially sell is my question. Rachel Reid is a USA Today bestselling author. I don't know how many of these books did properly. Oh, okay. Harley Quinn Enterprises Limited. So initially was released with a different publication, then came out with Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, why are we fumbling the bag? Carina Press through Harley Quinn. Why are we fumbling the bag? Like I said, HBO is the one releasing it here in the United States. Twitter revealed a fascinating difference between Crave and HBO Max. Now, I was worried that they had toned things down, like they had like censored more things and things like that between Crave and HBO Max when everyone was talking about this, because I was just watching on HBO Max and I was like, God, what did they cut? Like, what do you mean the different version on HBO Max? You know what they did? It looks like is they like darkened the exposure or something on Heated Rivalry for HBO Max. Crave was well lit, and HBO Max, there are scenes where I'm like, it's in the dark, okay? Like, I watched episode 3 on my laptop today while I was finishing getting ready. I wanted to rewatch it. There are whole scenes where it's like super dark, okay? I had to keep turning up my brightness, and it was full blast. And so I have this theory that it wasn't like any particular issue. I'm convinced that HBO Max is in the pocket of big television and big laptop, okay? And so they are purposely turning the brightness down on all of their media and all of their shows to try and get you and I, the consumer, to think we need new technology with better lighting, better screens, because surely it's not the media. Surely it's not them. Surely it's our technology. Therefore, we need to buy more technology. Do you get my point? This is a dumb theory, but I'm convinced that it's real, because what is the other point of darkening all of the scenes? What is the point? Every night scene, I can't see anything. And I'm watching some of these in the middle of the night when they drop. Like, I can't see anything. Let me see it. I want to see the screen. There's emotion on their faces that I can't see. Maybe don't watch this with your family, by the way. I saw someone said, I was embarrassed watching this with my dog in the room. The other thing, so Ilya speaks in Russian. There's actually quite a bit of Russian spoken in this show at times. And usually this happens a lot with a lot of like these AI captioners. If there is multiple language spoken in one scene, they can't deal with it. So there are some scenes where everything is translated in captions, okay? And then there's other scenes where Ilya will say something in Russian and the rest of the scene is in English while he's speaking with Shane or with his teammates or something. And that one bit will just say, speaks in Russian. Fix it. I hate it. If it's not AI, it's lazy, okay? Fix it. I hate it. Sort it out. I want to know what's going on, okay? And I don't speak Russian. One thing that I have seen spoken about a lot online, obviously, because there have been a lot of shows that have come out lately that are focusing on romance, okay, as in 2 male leads. That there's been a lack of shows, or a lack of shows getting a second season of shows featuring 2 women leads, okay, in a relationship. It's unfortunately become a trend. So a lot of people were like, well, I want Heated Rivalry, but with women. Can I introduce you to the PWHL? As someone that loves sports, you know, I just feel like men's sports are really missing the drama and intrigue of players on rival teams and the same teams dating each other and starting families together. I just really think that that's what's missing. You know how fun it is to watch a game when on the rival teams there's exes playing against each other? That's really fun. I really enjoy that. And that's the type of intrigue that women's sports gives you, baby. PWHL is the Professional Women's Hockey League, and all of the games you can watch for free on Big Daddy YouTube. We don't have to call it Big Daddy YouTube because we're talking about the PWHL, but you get my point, okay? You can watch it for free on YouTube. Now, while I was getting ready to record, I also did want to give you a couple of options of actual novels, okay, in case you don't actually want to watch hockey. Part of the reason of why people like Heated Rivalry is there's very little hockey in the actual show itself for some people. Some people are actually getting into hockey because of this show. That also is something that I do find fascinating, is the amount of hockey players and podcasters that are like actually giving this show a chance and like watching it because they know that it's going to get people into hockey. That is very fascinating to me. It's the way they talk about it is interesting. Some of them are engaging with it in bad faith because of course, but some of them are actually giving it like a real shot and talking about the hockey, which I do find interesting. For research for this, to give you guys some more options, I did type in lesbian hockey books. And I did find a couple of lists. Now, some of these have the same books. So on Goodreads, Listopia made a list that says lesbian novels with a main character who plays ice hockey. And there is 15 books on this list. Okay, I'll have that link down below. Bookfinder has a list as well. Most popular lesbian romance hockey romance books. I don't know why romance is in there twice, but it's fine. I'll also have that link down below. I think it's a lot of the same books, but a lot of these are the starts of series. So something to think about if you would like to also read lady-focused hockey romances. If you would like to read it, I get it. Not everyone wants to watch the PWHL or watch sports in general, watch hockey. I'm just saying that you can watch the PWHL for free. That's all I'm saying. You can get started. The third episode, focusing on Skip, I think is good for expanding the universe and also giving a little bit more of a note for, the background of Scott's dealing with Shane. His line of, "I'm right next door," is interesting with everything that we get. It shows that, like, yeah, there's discussions happening and things like that. Apparently this is going to play bigger roles later. It gives the indication for, expanding the series potentially for future seasons and things like that. So all in all, I like the show. I'm going to keep watching. Is there a nickname for this? Are the fans called Game Changers? But it's just interesting because it's like, I don't know how you fumble this. The fact that the book is sold out and like it takes a bit to get things printed, like I'm so curious how we fumbled like this. I hate the AI summaries, but all of the people also ask questions. Where can I watch Heated Rivalry in the US? Is Heated Rivalry getting a show? What is the plot of Heated Rivalry? What book is Heated Rivalry based off of? How explicit is Heated Rivalry? CNN article by Sandra Gonzalez, Heated Rivalry is everything you love about rom-coms, but with less pants? What? Their asses are insane, though. I admit this got me doing more squats. I think if anything is based on a book right now, and I know that like there's been fumbles books-wise, like there's been a handful of series that were just like they expected it to do super well and then it didn't. Anything that has a large women base of fans and readers, you can almost guarantee it's going to have at least some modicum of decent success, especially if it's based off a book series. It just is. I am honestly curious how it would have performed if they have dropped the entire show on Crave and then it got its audience, and then after it had already aired, people started being like, oh my God, how dare you not give it to this in the US? And then they do like a re-release schedule here with HBO Max. Would they have been properly prepared? My guess is no. At least books-wise. Like, I don't know how you fumble this battle. The books you can't get your hands on those books right now. Like, if you physically want to read the book, you can't get your hands on it. And that's crazy to not be able to capitalize off of that. That's going to be it. Are you watching Heated Rivalry? Did you read Heated Rivalry? Were you able to get your hands on Heated Rivalry? Have you read any more of the Game Changer series? Do you have a woman-focused hockey romance novel that you think is great and should be adapted into a TV show or a movie? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder, check out Girly Pop Go if you'd like to see more car and motorsport content. Shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me on channel membership. If you'd also like to show me on channel membership, you can go ahead and click join down below. If you'd like to follow me on all social media, that'll be all up here. And that's going to be a couple of day. Goodbye. We didn't even kiss. Diabolical, actually.